Could you tell a year before someone dies what's wrong with them? Even though it's scary to think about, many elderly people show clear changes in their bodies and behaviors up to a year before they die. At first, these signs are often subtle and can be mistaken for normal aging. However, doctors have found patterns that can show when the body's getting ready to die. In this video, we show you 7 important signs that an elderly person is likely to show in the year before they die. These signals, like weight changes that don't make sense or changes in behavior, can tell you a lot about what's going on below the surface. Don't forget to watch a movie first. Please subscribe and turn on bell alerts if you haven't already. Please rate the video with a like if you liked it and a 0 if you didn't like it in the comments. Thanks for your ideas. It will help me make better videos for you. We can start now. Knowing these signs can help families give their loved ones the right support and care in their last months, making sure they die with dignity and comfort. Stay tuned until the end because knowing about these changes could not only help you deal with them better, but it could also help you prepare emotionally. Whether you are worried about yourself or someone you care about, everyone should know this. It's time to begin. First, sudden weight loss that you can't explain. Sudden, unexplained weight loss is one of the first and scariest signs that an elderly person is about to die that doctors often notice. If an older person starts to lose weight without changing what they eat or how they live, that's usually a sign that something is wrong. Weight loss by itself isn't always a bad thing, but when it happens quickly and for no clear reason, it's usually a sign that something bad is going on inside the body. It could be a sign of a disease that hasn't been found yet, like cancer, advanced heart disease, or organ failure. Muscle loss and weakness can happen when the body is just having trouble absorbing nutrients properly. A man like Richard, who is 82 years old and has always been a strong figure in his family, is an example. He lost almost 15 pounds without trying in just a few months. He wasn't eating as much, and his clothes seemed to hang off of him. At first, his family thought it was just normal aging. When he finally went to the doctor, they found that he had a condition that was making it hard for him to keep his weight steady. By the time they caught it, his body was already significantly less strong. When older people lose weight, doctors often say it's not just about the number on the scale, but also about what the loss means. The body is a very complicated system. When something is wrong, it starts to use up its own stores to stay alive, quickly losing fat and muscle. It could mean that the body can't process food properly, fight off illness, or stay strong. This drop can make it harder to get better from even small infections, which can make your health worse overall. Another important thing is that when you lose weight, your appetite usually goes down too. Someone may begin to skip meals, feel full more quickly, or lose interest in foods they used to enjoy. This might be because your taste buds are changing or because of the side effects of your medicine, but it could also be a sign of a bigger problem. When a person is getting close to death, their body naturally slows down. As a result, they often don't need as much food. It's important to be concerned, though, if a loved one stops eating well and starts losing weight quickly. Caregivers and family members should pay attention to small signs. An older person may need to see a doctor if they need to tighten their belt more often, if their jewelry comes loose, or if their face and hands look thinner than they used to. If you start losing weight early, you might be able to find a problem that can still be treated. Simple things that can be done, like changing their diet, giving them nutritional supplements, or keeping track of their medications, can help slow the decline and make their overall health better. It may seem like losing weight is a normal part of getting older, but if it happens too quickly, your body is probably trying to tell you that something is wrong. If you or someone you know has been losing weight for no clear reason, don't brush it off. Think of it as a reason to do something and get help from a professional. Number 2, feeling tired and weaker all the time. A persistent feeling of being tired and weak is one of the most common but often missed signs that an older person may be getting close to the end of their life. It's not like the kind of tiredness you get after a long day or a bad night's sleep. They are deeply and permanently worn out, and it doesn't matter how much rest they get. It's often a sign that someone's body is slowing down in a deeper way, when someone who used to be active and involved starts having trouble with even the smallest daily tasks. There are many reasons why older people get tired, but when they are getting close to the end of their lives, it's usually because their organs aren't working as well. Muscles and tissues may not be getting as much oxygen and nutrients because the heart may not be pumping as well. Some people feel sluggish because their kidneys or liver may not be filtering toxins as well as they should. This causes waste to build up in the body. Even the immune system can get tired from fighting off infections or inflammation all the time, leaving little energy for other things. Let's look at Margaret, who is 78 years old and has always loved taking care of her garden. She used to spend her mornings pulling weeds and watering her flowers, but her daughter began to notice small changes. In just a few minutes of work, Margaret would get tired and lean on her shovel to catch her breath. At some point, it got hard for her to even walk up the steps to her front door. She thought it was just part of getting older at first, but the change happened too quickly for it to be normal. Doctors often look for patterns in how much energy people have. Someone who used to enjoy doing light things like reading, talking to friends, or cooking meals now wants to rest most of the time. That means something more serious is going on. When an older person has chronic fatigue, they don't just feel tired, they lose the strength and motivation to do the things they need to do every day. Their body may be having a hard time keeping up with basic functions, putting all of its energy into important systems and turning off less important ones. Another important factor is how tiredness impacts your mood and ability to think clearly. When someone is weak for a long time, they often lose interest in what's going on around them. They might sleep more during the day, talk less, or lose interest in things they used to enjoy. Not only is this a change in thought, it's also the body's way of saving energy. Some older people may say they feel heavy or like they're moving through water and are having a hard time finding the strength to do things that used to come naturally to them. Seeing these signs in a loved one shouldn't make you think it's just part of getting older. Sometimes you just need to rest and recharge. But if you feel really tired and weak at the same time, that's usually a big red flag. Seeing a doctor can help you figure out what's really going on, whether it's anemia, heart failure, or an imbalance in your electrolytes. Changing medications, drinking more water, or fixing nutritional deficiencies can sometimes boost energy and bring back some vitality. The most important thing to remember is that if an older person seems much weaker than usual, it's likely because their body is shifting its resources to stay alive. Keeping an eye on this change can tell you a lot about their health and help families get ready for what might happen. Third, pulling away from people and changing who you are. A noticeable change in personality or social engagement is a surprising but important sign that doctors have seen in older people who are getting close to the end of their lives. There are many ways that this change can look. Someone who used to be friendly may become quieter over time. Conversations may feel shorter and less lively, and things they used to enjoy may not interest them as much. Many people think of social withdrawal as a sign of depression, but for older people, it can also be a subtle sign that their bodies are getting ready for the end. One main reason for this is that the brain and body are very closely linked. As physical health gets worse, energy levels drop, and people often lose interest in things they used to enjoy. Sometimes it feels like too much work to keep up conversations, hang out with friends, or even answer the phone. This is especially important if they are in pain all the time, tired, or just feel generally sick. It's possible that they don't feel sad. Rather, it's more likely that their body is unable to maintain the same level of energy needed to participate in social activities. Take a look at an example. James, who is now 80 years old, was always the life of the party. He was known for telling jokes at family gatherings and calling his old army buddies all the time. His family did notice that he stopped answering the phone as often over time, though. He stopped going to things he used to enjoy, and when he did, he seemed cold and quiet. He pulled away more and more over the months. At first, they thought he was just tired. They finally understood that something more important was going on. One of the first signs that his health was getting worse was that he stopped spending time with people. Physicians stress that if a person starts to withdraw from their usual social groups, it is important to find out why. Is it because they are sad, hurt, or having trouble remembering things? Or is it part of a larger pattern of getting worse? People who are getting older may stop talking to others because it's getting harder for them to keep up with the conversation. Others may be ashamed of their physical limitations and avoid situations where they feel less capable than before. Another thing to keep an eye out for is sudden changes in personality. If someone seems to be getting more irritable, anxious, or even confused, it could be a sign of a deeper health problem. Moody changes can be caused by problems with organs, side effects from medicines, or even the early stages of dementia. Changes in personality can happen when the body is putting more energy into important functions and less into controlling emotions. What breaks my heart the most is that these changes are often missed or taken the wrong way as personal rejection. People who care about the elderly person may think they are just losing interest in family or friends, but they may actually be dealing with a physical or mental decline that makes it harder for them to interact with others. Families can respond with patience and support instead of anger when they know that this behavior is not done on purpose. It's normal for older people to pull away from people, but you should never ignore a sudden or big change. Encouraging gentle engagement, like short visits, listening to music together, or just sitting in quiet can help them stay connected without being too much. If you are going through withdrawal along with other warning signs, seeing a doctor can help you figure out if the change is caused by an underlying condition. There are more than just social reasons to notice when someone is pulling away. If they do this early on, it could mean that their body is changing in big ways. If someone you care about has been withdrawing, use it as a chance to show your support and make sure they get the care they need. 4. Infections that come back or healing that takes a long time. A clear drop in a person's immune system is one of the most telling signs that they may be getting close to the end of their life. The body becomes less able to fight off infections and heal from even small wounds as it gets weaker. Because of this, people often get the same illnesses over and over again, like colds, UTIs, pneumonia, or skin infections that take a lot longer to heal than they used to. Sometimes a small cut or bruise that used to heal in a few days may stay sore for weeks, or an illness that was easy to handle may get much worse. Along with fighting off bacteria, viruses, and other harmful invaders, the immune system is like a shield that is always at work. The system does, however, naturally weaken as we age. It takes longer for white blood cells to be made, for inflammatory responses to work, and for the body to make new healthy tissue. Infections that were once just a bother can become long-lasting, life-threatening when this happens. Take the case of Walter, who is 81 years old. He had always been pretty healthy and could go about his daily life without any major problems. His family noticed that he was getting colds more often over the course of a few months, and each time it seemed to take longer for him to get better. He got a small cut on his hand while gardening, and it was red and swollen for weeks. In the end, a simple urinary tract infection turned into a high fever that needed to be treated in the hospital. His body used to be strong, but it couldn't protect itself like it used to. It's especially scary when older people get infections over and over again because they may not say anything at first. It's possible for older adults to not always show the usual signs of an infection, like pain or a high fever. Instead, they might have mild symptoms like being tired, confused, or just feeling off in general. This makes it even more important to notice any changes in their health, even if they seem small. A slow healing rate is another important factor. It is often a sign that circulation is poor in older people when they get a bruise, scratch, or small wound that takes a very long time to heal. When circulation is low, the body can't get enough oxygen and nutrients to hurt tissue, which makes it harder for the body to heal itself. Blood vessels that are getting older, a heart that doesn't work as well, or even diseases like diabetes that make the healing process even slower. Infections don't always mean that your immune system is weak. They may also mean that the body is having trouble with something deeper. Long-lasting infections may be a sign of kidney issues, diabetes that hasn't been diagnosed yet, or even the beginning stages of organ failure. When the body's getting close to dying, it puts its last bit of energy into doing the most important things, which often means it can't fight off illness. If an elderly family member is getting infections, colds, or wounds that won't heal, you need to do something right away. Seeing a doctor can help you figure out if there are underlying problems that need to be fixed. Small changes, like drinking more water, changing what you eat, or changing how you take your medications, can sometimes boost the immune system and make you feel better overall. Sometimes, though, recurring infections mean that the body is slowly shutting down. Families can get ready for this and make sure their loved ones get the care they need if they know this. The fifth sign is having trouble swallowing or losing your appetite. Another very scary sign that an older person is getting close to the end of their life is having trouble swallowing or losing their appetite all of a sudden. Doctors warn that this could be a sign of something much more serious, even though it may seem like a normal part of getting older. When an older person starts to eat less or has trouble swallowing, it's usually because their body isn't processing food as well as it used to. This change can happen quickly or slowly, but it's always a sign that you should pay attention. Most of us don't think much about swallowing. Without giving it much thought, it's just something that you do. But as people age, the muscles that help them swallow can get weaker. In some cases, this is because of neurological conditions like Parkinson's or dementia that make it hard for the brain to control these muscles. In other cases, dysphagia, which is another word for trouble swallowing, can be caused by organs not working as well. When the body starts to shut down, it naturally slows down processes that aren't needed, and digestion is often one of the first to be affected. Look at the case of Helen, who is 83 years old. She always liked her coffee and toast in the morning, but one day her daughter saw that it was taking her a lot longer to finish her meal. Helen would chew for a very long time, and before she swallowed, she would sometimes cough a little. She ate less and less over time, leaving most of her food unfinished. At some point, it got hard to even drink water. By the time she went to the doctor, her body was already weak, which made it hard for her to get better. Doctors also pay close attention to people who lose their appetite as a major warning sign. People often eat less as they get older, but a sudden or big drop in food intake is not normal. These feelings are often signs that the body doesn't need as much energy and is getting ready to slow down. When this happens, older people might stop eating altogether, lose interest in foods they used to love, or say they're not hungry. One of the biggest risks of having trouble swallowing and losing your appetite is not getting enough food. If an older person doesn't eat enough, they lose muscle mass, their immune system gets weaker, and they become less strong overall. This might start a bad cycle. It is harder to eat when you are weak, and it gets even worse when you eat less. Even a small illness or infection can become life-threatening over time if the body doesn't have the tools to fight it off. Caregivers and families often don't know how to handle the situation. You might want to make someone you care about eat more, but forcing them to eat isn't always the best way to do it. Instead, you should eat small meals that are full of nutrients and easy to swallow. Sometimes soft foods, broths, and nutritional shakes can help, but if it's still hard to swallow, you need to see a doctor right away. In some cases, speech or swallowing therapy can help people function better, while in others, doctors may suggest different ways to eat. Ultimately, if an older person starts to lose their appetite or has trouble swallowing, it's often one of the clearest signs that their body's going through a big change. Even though it's heartbreaking to see, knowing why it's happening can help families make smart choices about comfort and care. If a loved one stops eating or has trouble swallowing, that's a sign that they need help. Make sure they're comfortable and talk to a doctor to figure out what their body is trying to tell them. Number 6, walking unevenly or falling down a lot. One of the most important but often overlooked signs that an older person may be in their last year of life is a sudden change in their ability to move around. It is normal for strength and balance to get weaker with age, but if you notice that you are falling more often, having trouble walking, or becoming unstable all of a sudden, it's probably a sign of something much more serious. When an older person can't move as easily as they used to, it means that their nerves, muscles, or blood flow aren't working as well as they used to. This decline isn't just about getting weaker. It's often a sign of bigger changes going on inside the body. The gradual weakening of muscles and bones is one of the main reasons why older people are more likely to fall. Our bodies naturally lose muscle mass as we age, but if this process speeds up, it can cause a condition called sarcopenia. Everyday things like getting up from a chair, walking down a hallway, or stepping up onto a curb are much harder to do now than they were before. It's possible for someone who used to be active and independent to suddenly need walls, furniture, or help from others just to move around. Take the case of Frank, who is 79 years old. He was always sure of himself and didn't think twice about going for walks or running errands. But after a few months, he began to trip more often. At first, it seemed like just a few close calls, so they thought it was just them being clumsy. Then he took his first real fall. It wasn't bad. He just got a bruise on his arm. For a while, though, he fell more often, and his confidence in his ability to move around began to fade. His family later found out that his nervous system wasn't working as quickly as it used to, and that his circulation was getting worse. Loss of muscle isn't always the cause of balance problems. They can be caused by changes in the brain. Neurological conditions like Parkinson's disease, mini strokes, or even dementia that hasn't been diagnosed can make it hard to move or react quickly. Our nervous system is very important for movement. It sends messages from the brain to the body to keep us balanced. It's more likely that someone will fall when those signals stop working right or slow down. Poor circulation is another thing that can make it hard to move around. As people age, their hearts become less able to pump blood. When blood flow to the legs drops, it can make them feel numb, weak, and dizzy. When they stand up too quickly or have trouble keeping their balance after sitting for a long time, some elderly people feel dizzy. When the disease gets worse, the body sends more blood to important organs like the brain and heart, leaving the limbs, especially the legs, without the oxygen and nutrients they need to work right. There are many more risks that come with falling often than just getting hurt. One bad fall can break your hip, hurt you badly, or even send you to the hospital. Studies have shown that a lot of older people's health quickly gets worse after a big fall. This is usually because of problems like infections, less mobility, or the mental fear of falling again. Just this fear can make people move less, which speeds up their physical decline. Don't ignore it if you see an elderly loved one losing their balance. Supportive aids like a cane or walker should be encouraged, but the most important thing is to see a doctor to see if there's a medical problem going on. Sometimes simple things like changing medications, drinking more water, or going to physical therapy can help restore some stability. Other times, falling down a lot may be a sign that your body is slowly losing its ability to work the way it used to. Seventh, confusion, hallucinations, or a loss of mental abilities. A sudden or slow loss of cognitive function is one of the scariest and most often misunderstood signs that an older person may be in their last year of life. This can show up in a lot of different ways, such as forgetfulness, trouble following conversations, sudden confusion about time or place, or even hallucinations. A noticeable change in mental clarity, especially if it happens quickly, can be a sign of something much more serious. Many people think that memory loss is a normal part of getting older. The brain needs oxygen and food all the time to work right, and when the body starts to get weak, the brain is often one of the first organs to show problems. Sometimes poor circulation means the brain isn't getting the oxygen it needs, which leads to cognitive decline. In others, it could be because of a deeper health problem, like an infection that hasn't been found yet, the side effects of a medication, or even organ failure in its early stages. Cognitive functions like memory, attention, and reasoning can start to get worse when the body starts to focus its remaining energy on essential functions. Take Dorothy, who is 85 years old. Her son noticed that she started repeating herself more often. She was always smart. She remembered people's birthdays, told old family stories, and knew what was going on in the world. At first, it was small things, like forgetting a conversation from earlier in the day or losing her keys. But over time, she started to lose her way, forget the time, and even wake up not sure if it was morning or night. She told her family one night that she saw her dead husband standing in the hallway. That's when they knew something was really wrong. When older people have hallucinations, it can be very upsetting for both them and their loved ones. Hearing voices, seeing people who aren't there, or having feelings that have nothing to do with your body can all be signs that your brain is having a hard time. People with dementia or neurological diseases like Parkinson's disease often have hallucinations, but they can also happen when the body's in pain. These episodes can be caused by not drinking enough water, having an infection, or even not getting enough sleep. But if they happen more often, it could mean that the body is shutting down. A different, more subtle sign is what is known as terminal restlessness. This is when an older person acts irritable, anxious, or lost in a way that doesn't make sense. They may pace, pick at their sheets, or appear unable to calm down. This behavior may be caused by pain, but it could also mean that the body is having trouble keeping itself in check in the last few months. Doctors stress that even though some changes in thinking are normal as people age, sudden or extreme changes should never be ignored. It's important to get medical help for an elderly loved one who suddenly can't remember familiar faces, can't speak in full sentences, or seems lost in their own home. In some cases, these symptoms can be fixed because the person has an infection, is dehydrated, or is having trouble with their medications. In other cases, they are signs of a deeper decline that families should get ready for. When you think about cognitive changes, remember that they're not just about memory loss. They're also about how your body works as a whole. If someone is confused or having hallucinations, it's not just a sign of getting older. It means something important is going on inside. You can help your loved one get the care and comfort they need in their last months by keeping an eye on these changes. As we come to the end of this video, please take a moment to think about the 7 signs we've talked about. Not always is it easy to notice these changes, and even when we do, it can be hard to accept what they might mean. But knowing about them helps us give our loved ones the best care and make sure they are as comfortable as possible in their last months. What did you notice most? Have any of these signs been seen in someone you know? Giving up hope doesn't mean you see them. It means knowing when to talk to a doctor, when to change your care, and when to focus on improving your quality of life instead of just getting more time. While everyone's journey is different, the body does have a way of telling us when it needs help. One of the kindest things we can do is pay attention to these signs. Please get in touch with us. Tell us what you learned today and how you're going to use it in your life in the comments below. We care about what you think, so don't be shy about telling us. We feel very motivated and encouraged when we read your comments. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you liked it and found it useful. Thanks for your support. It lets us keep making good content for you to learn from and be inspired by. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.